There's some significant changes coming in light of the recent NAR settlement, especially when it comes to the home buying process here in the state of Florida. Beginning August 3rd, some significant changes are coming that you need to be made aware of. Hi, my name is Andy Beal with Real Broker, and I'm going to take some time over the next few minutes to unpack for you the biggest questions around these changes, how they impact you, and best steps for you moving forward. Question 1. What has brought about these changes? Recently, the National Association of Realtors reached a settlement agreement when it came to a commission lawsuit. As a result, some changes have come about to bring about a greater degree of transparency, communication, and an understanding between agents and the clients that they serve. Question 2. Why are these changes necessary? These changes are all about transparency and fairness. It's important to make sure that everyone involved when it comes to real estate, whether that's the buyer, the seller, or the agents that represent them, have clear communication about what's expected, what is owed to them as a client, as well as when it comes to terms of compensation, what is expected there as well, and where that compensation is coming from. Question 3. Now let's dive into the specifics of what these changes are actually going to mean for you if you're looking not only to purchase a property, but even tour a property. See, beginning on August 3rd in the state of Florida, any potential buyer looking to tour a property with an agent is going to have to sign some form of a buyer representation agreement. There are literally 4 different options that you can choose from when it comes to this. Each of the different options outlines a different layer and level of responsibility and expectation between the relationship of a buyer's agent and their client. Question number 4. What options are available to you as a home buyer with these new changes? As mentioned in the previous question, there are several options available to you providing various levels of commitment as well as responsibilities in terms of the agent's representation of you in the purchase of your property. The best option is to communicate with your agent about these differences to determine which level of commitment is best for you. Question number 5. How can you as a buyer be sure that you are well represented in the process of purchasing a home? This is all about trust. Certainly understanding that sometimes when you visit the beach and you're out touring property, you meet an agent at an open house and you're wondering, hey, can they get me out to see a few other properties? Now with this new arrangement in place, prior to that agent showing you property, you have to enter into one of these agreements. That's a bit scary, especially when it's someone that you've just met. Truthfully, the best way to go about this is to find an agent that you can develop some degree of rapport with. Do some research prior to making your visit to the beach. Get to know the agent. Reach out with a phone call, an email, study their website, read their online reviews. Get an understanding of how they go about representing buyers and have some test cases to understand what it's looked like for them in the past. Do they have a process? Or are they simply out there unlocking doors for you to take a look? If they're a good agent, they're going to be able to communicate to you their value proposition in representing you in the purchase of your property. Once you've reached a degree of comfort, it's going to be a lot easier for you to enter into one of these types of agreements. However, if you do find yourself in a position where you've just visited the beach and you're beginning to explore properties and you just want to see a few, the property pre-touring agreement is a great step. This serves as a bit of an intermediary before entering into a full-blown buyer representation agreement. This single sheet document outlines who you are, who the agent is, as well as a short and defined term and number of days for which you will let them show you properties. Now, this document still outlines a degree of compensation should you find a home that you choose to move forward with. Question number 6. What impact could these changes potentially have on a buyer's purchase costs when it comes to securing their property? The answer to that question, unfortunately, is it could have some significant changes. Historically, what we have seen is that most of the commissions that have been paid to buyer's agents have been some portion of a split of what was originally agreed upon with the listing agent and the seller. In this new arrangement, transparency and communication on the front end is going to be imperative to understand. No longer is a cooperating agent commission going to be advertised on the MLS. Therefore, the reality is you could be touring a property where the seller is offering to pay that buyer's agent commission, Or you could be falling in love with a place where the seller is not offering any type of compensation to a buyer's agent at all. All the more reason that this upfront agreement on a buyer's agent agreement is clearly stating what you're willing to pay that buyer's agent to represent you in the purchase of the property. The good news is, if the seller is in fact offering some degree of compensation, it's going to offset whatever that agreed amount was that you sought, whether that's 2%, 2.5%, 3%, or more. All of that is negotiable. Make that very clear to you. Commissions are completely negotiable. That's been the biggest factor of this entire lawsuit, was that it was felt that between sellers and buyers, there was some form of an agreement between agents to determine a locked and fixed commission rate. It's simply not the case. Commissions have always been negotiable, and in this situation, you need to factor in the possibility that you could have some additional costs associated with purchasing a property. Remember, everything is negotiable, and it's very possible that you as the buyer could negotiate with the seller to offset the buyer's agent commission. This can be offered to you as a credit at closing. However, in a highly competitive market, it's very possible that you are going to be responsible for paying that buyer's agent commission for the services they provide you. In conclusion, some big changes are coming on a nationwide level as well as locally here along the beaches of 30A. If you're a buyer, it's important that you make yourself educated about these changes. Talk to your agent, or you can reach out to me. I'm happy to answer your questions. The biggest thing to keep in mind is understanding the importance of finding an agent that you can trust, understanding exactly what you're agreeing to, and then entering into the right type of agreement to fit your needs. As I mentioned before, I believe the best first step in terms of touring property is going to be the property pre-touring agreement. You'll be able to enter into that agreement for just a set number of days, get a feel for working with that agent, and then decide if it's going to be a good fit for you, and make the decision to enter into a more formal agreement moving forward. As mentioned, there's going to be lots of questions and a lot of moving pieces as we get these new processes in place. It's going to take some patience, but at the same time, in the end, I do believe that this is going to work out for the best of all parties involved. If you've got questions, certainly reach out at the contact information in the description below or at the link in my bio. And if you're planning a visit to 30A anytime soon to tour properties here at the beach, I'd love to help you get established, build that trust so that you can feel confident in my skills in representing you in the purchase of your property here. If you found this information helpful, be sure and share it with someone that may be thinking about the possibility of buying a home in the near future. Until next time, make it a great day on 30A.